Hello, my friends, and welcome to Elden Ring for Old People. As a card-carrying member of the 40-plus gamer community, I wanted to create a video to make it easier for my fellow oldies to play the greatest game ever made, Elden Ring. If you grew up on MS-DOS games like Digdug and Cat, as I did, you too would understand why the likes of Elden Ring seem a touch complex and challenging. Above all, the intricacies of the gameplay are a lot to take in for an old and tired brain such as mine. But through my absolute adoration of the game and many, many misspent hours, I have a bag full of tricks that I believe I can pass on to the next generation of old gamers. Okay, so I've pre-created this old chap in keeping with the theme, and I'm about to give you my first tip to start with, and that is with the keepsake. I'm going to go for the cracked pot, and I recommend that you do as well. And I'll tell you why later as we get into the game. Now let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is that I chose the Confessor as my starting character. I believe that either the Confessor or the Vagabond is the right choice when you're starting off in this game. And that's for a very simple reason. It's because of the shield. The shield on the Confessor and the Vagabond have 100% damage negation, which means that you don't get a hit to your health if someone hits you on the shield. If you hold your shield up and someone hits you, you don't take a hit to your health. You do take a hit to your stamina, which I will explain later. In fact, I will demonstrate now how you will take no hit to your health. We have a starting boss now who is supposed to be way too difficult at this stage. It's From Software conceit, if you like. But even though this terrifying chap is whacking these swords at us, if you hold your shield up, you don't take a hit to your health. You do take a hit to your stamina, which is the green bar below. And if your stamina comes down to zero, you have this animation where you get staggered and then you become open to an attack. But it is still extremely useful to have that health, that damage negation on your shield, so you can take a couple of blows without losing health. Anyway, let's talk about these flasks very quickly. I'm going to sort of over-explain here because I don't know what level you're at. So the Flask of Cerulean Tears, the red flask, restores your health. The Flask of, I beg your pardon, the Flask of Crimson Tears restores your health. We're just going to take a swig of it right now to demonstrate. And that the red bar, which is your health, went back to full. And the Flask of Cerulean Tears restores your FP, which allows you to do magic and special skills. I'm not sure what FP stands for, given this is like my 7th playthrough. Anyway, so we're going to demonstrate, we're going to mostly use this tutorial to demonstrate the shield. Now just observe that you got no hit to your health, which is the red bar. And what I did just there was what is called the guard counter. Do it again. The guard counter is when you get hit on the shield, you hit R2, the heavy attack, R2 on the PlayStation 5, which is what I'm playing this on. And that does what is called a guard counter, which is like this dramatic swing of the blade, which does quite a lot of damage. And it's going to take us through a significant chunk of the game, especially the first part of the game. And I think when you're starting off and you're a bit uncertain with the game, the guard counter is extremely useful. We're also going to pick up these berries in the wild and various items in the wild, which will make our life easier. From this point on in the tutorial, I'm just going to follow the instructions. It's telling me to whack him double-handed. Yeah, it's asking me to lock onto a target. Let me just show you the hit to the stamina, which is the green bar here. You'll notice that when he hits me, I get a little hit to the stamina. If that goes down to 0, I'll get staggered, and they'll be able to give me a proper hit. But, I mean, this guy's pathetic, so the hit to the stamina is nothing. I was going to demonstrate that, but I kind of lost my patience there. Let's move on. Oh, there's supposed to be a bowman here, but he seems to have disappeared. Oh well, let us move on. I think this is the last skeleton creature. Oh, okay, asking me to demonstrate the skill of the weapon. In this case, it's called the square off, which is this kind of skewering motion. Looks a bit odd. It's kind of moderately useful. I think most special skills are extremely useful once you get used to them, but I don't recommend you overusing them at the start when you're just starting off and you're a bit uncertain with yourself. I recommend just sticking with the shield and the guard counter at the very early stages. This is asking me to do the jump attack. I'll do the jump attack, and then we're going to face our first boss. I mean, it's a pathetic excuse for a boss, but a very good opportunity to demonstrate the guard counter. I'm really going to do the guard counter now. Just take a sip of my coffee while waiting for this guy. The guard counter is, just to remind you, allow him to hit you with the shield and then hit the heavy attack, the R2 on the PlayStation. I'm doing this on the PlayStation 5, by the way. So let's give this a go. And that breaks his stance and allows you to do this extended stab attack. And we finished off that weapon. I mean, no boss in Elden Ring is going to be that easy. It's almost misleading. It's almost a bit of a joke how easy they made that first proper boss. But there you go. That's the tutorial done. Now let's move on to the main game and make use of what we've learned so far, which is basically how to use the guard counter. And about my shield, of course. Another save point here. I'm going to demonstrate very quickly how to use spells. We've come equipped with a couple of spells here, a heal and an assassin's approach, which allows you to sneak up on people. In order to use spells, you need to swap in your left hand between your shield and what is called the finger seal. The finger seal allows you to do spells. So now that we've got this finger seal, we swap to assassin's approach and we hit L1. And this softens your footsteps so you can sneak up on people. I'll show you later how to use that. This is, if you have chosen a stone sword key, for now I'm just going to mark this as an area to come back to later. If you had chosen a stone sword key as your starting gift, then you could have gone in there, but you are substantially under-leveled for that. It's way too difficult at this stage, so I don't recommend it at all unless you want loads of frustration or if you're amazing at video games. Which, if you are, you really shouldn't be watching this video. This video is not for you. Go away. And the beautiful Limgrave. Here we are. Another save point. And we'll just pick this up here very quickly. And let's have a chat with this chap. I'm going to smash through all the dialogues in this game, by the way. If you want to listen to, if you want to listen and read to everything that people say, play for it. You play it yourself. That gave me a chance to have a sip of my coffee, and now let's move on. This is a multiplayer item, which is not within the scope of this video. First things first, that chap on the horse over there, you are also substantially under-leveled for him, so I would just avoid him. By all means, have a go. You will find out the truth of my words if you try to take him on. I believe, I'll just put on a skull sign to show that we can come back to him at a later stage. I believe it's Elden Ring's way, From Software's way of telling you don't have to do this game in a linear manner. That's how I read the existence of such a difficult character so early. Instead, let's come here. This is going to be a place we're going to come back to several times to upgrade our armament. We need another smithing stone to do so. We need 2 smithing stones. And we're going to buy some stuff from this guy. at this, I want a lot of the things that he has on offer here. But the most important is the crafting kit, which I will pick up now, and also the torch. I want all of this stuff, by the way. At some point, those cookbooks allow you to craft stuff that will be useful in the game. And the number one item we are going to craft now is the fire pot. The fire pot is going to be massive for dealing with the early bosses of this game. That's why we chose the cracked pot. You need cracked pots in order to craft those fire pots. And that's going to be a key strategy for us as newbies or as, slightly older players of this game. I'm just going to demonstrate how to use this Assassin's, what are they called? Assassin's Footsteps skill. It just means that people don't detect you coming behind them. However, if you have not chosen the Confessor, you wouldn't have this particular spell on you. So I'm going to spend most of the game crouching, rather, so that for those who don't have this spell. So I'm going to not use this spell a huge amount. But if you do have it, it makes perfect sense to use it a lot. Just whacking these guys for the moment. We're coming through this way in order to get what we're coming through this way here. We're trying to get to that point over there. That is where we get a map fragment, and we get a map so we can see where we are going. Hopefully that makes sense. Map fragment is up ahead. Let's deal with this guy, and let's put that lesson into practice, which is allow them to hit you on the shield and then give them a whack. Give them a guard counter. Didn't quite work on that occasion because he is quite far away. That's where we are. And I just wanted to show you this very quickly. A message that tells you that there's a chamber beneath these ruins where you'll find some treasure. There's a chamber beneath, I think, most, if not all, ruins you encounter in this game. So just keep that in mind. Guard counter. Break his stance and then do this extended stab animation. One advantage of that stab animation is that you can't be harmed while you're in that animation. I opted not to go for it there because that wolf was after me. Oh wow, got them both. Oh yeah, the stab animation, like so, is very useful. Patience. Patience is the name of the game with these wolves. So they can do quite a lot of damage. So wait for them to hit your shield. Okay. Right, that's the first step of this particular challenge. Okay, I do want to get that guy, but I also don't want to alert that knight who's prowling up and down. So this is the chamber, as described in that message earlier. And we're going to get an important item here. Essential, really. It's the whetstone knife, which allows you to change the skills on your primary weapon. So right now, this when you double hand your weapon, you can use the skill. I will demonstrate very shortly. I kind of don't want to alert that knight. Shall I go for it? Yeah, I'll go for it. No. Okay, I did alert him. Alright, well, what I do want to do is draw him away from this area because there's loads of guards around, and you don't want to be fighting multiple enemies. I was trying to show that special skill. Let me see if I can do it. don't think that worked very well. Yeah, that's the special skill, is that sort of skewering move. Try and do it one more time. As you can see, he's guard countering. That's what that sound is. His health was pretty low, so I decided to just just go and whack him. All right, so now, if you've played this game before and struggled with it, you will realize that you have to wait. If you alert that particular guard who's on that road up ahead, he starts blowing this horn, and then a dozen of these guys descend upon you. I want to avoid that, because even though I'm well practiced in this game, I would still struggle with that. So, and if you're new to the game, you absolutely should. Yeah, so this is our sword, the broadsword. I was telling you about the sword and the shield. They're perfectly serviceable. The thing about Elden Ring is pretty much any weapon in this game. I'll continue that later. He's turned around, so I'm going to go and backstab him. Look at that. He's got that horn or trumpet or whatever it is. And I wanted to avoid him alerting everybody. Instead, we can take them out one by one now. Guard counter. We're going to get these smoldering butterflies are really important. And it's the reason we chose a cracked pot as the starting gift. And the reason we bought the item crafting kit was to create something that is going to be... Okay, let's just deal with that guy later, I think. Okay, let's just do it. Okay. Now we've got the map. Lovely stuff. So that's where we came from. That's where we are now. Hopefully, all of this has made sense so far. And I'm not going too quickly or giving you too much information. Sneak behind. If you could use the assassin's footstep or whatever that thing is called. This is going to be our weapon for a substantial chunk of this game. The Lord Sworn's Greatsword. Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have the adequate stats to use it. If you look to your right over there, you can do it with both hands, like so. I shall explain why in a second. That is its special skill, which is really quite good. I'm going back to the broadsword. At the moment, we don't have the skills required for the Lord Sworn's Greatsword. It requires 16 strength. So we might top up. Okay, before I go there, let's go through this. I am going to skip this particular video, even though it's actually a lot of fun.
They serve, but I can play turning to aid you. You need only to the foot of the... Then it said, summon me. I bequeath. Use it. It will summon torrent. Treat him with respect.
Right. Now she allows you to level up your
Shall
skills.
I turn your rune? Let my hand share them with me. Your thoughts.
Right.
Your ambition.
So strength is the one that we need to upgrade in order to use the Lord Sworn's Greatsword. So that's the one that I'm going to focus on at the moment. But I strongly recommend at the early stages of the game to focus on vigor, mind, and endurance. Especially vigor and endurance. Vigor increases your health. Okay, before we do that, let's pop torrent onto our quick use menu, and then on the PlayStation, if I hit triangle and down arrow, I get torrent, the horse. And then let's come through here. Alright, while we're going to dispatch a couple of our enemies on this side, I shall explain about leveling up. You start the game with a certain number of skills, and vigor and endurance improve your health and stamina, So we want to increase our health and stamina as much as possible in the early part of the game. And the rest of the skills, strength, dexterity, faith, intelligence, and so on, and arcane, they're kind of optional. It depends on what kind of a build you want to create. In order to use a sword, we want a bit of strength and dexterity to use a sword, and in order to use magic, we want faith. I beg your pardon. In order to use spells, we want to use faith. In order to use magic, we want to increase our intelligence. Pause here to talk a little bit about the flail. This will give you an idea of how the different skills work. The flail requires 18 dexterity, whereas the Lordsworn's Greatsword requires 16 strength. In my playthrough, I'm going to focus on strength and faith. I might change that later, but at least to start with, it's going to be strength and faith. So I'm not going to go down the route of the flail, but it is worth experimenting if you want to try. It's a great weapon. It looks amazing as well. Okay, I'm going to start here by dispatching these bats. Bats tend to appear only at night. It's night in this video game at the moment. I want to finish off these bats first because they otherwise get in the way. We're about to do our first mounted battle, and I don't want those bats to get in the way. So let's do that. I'm going to give you a couple of tips about mounted battle to make it easier. Practice obviously is the best way of getting good at it, but I recommend learning how to hit someone from the left. Most of these characters swing from the right, like so. So if you can get on their left and hit them, they usually don't know what to do. However, getting someone from the left like so it takes a bit of practice. But once you've got it right, so I do recommend spending a bit of time, especially given there's a site of grace really nearby, spend a bit of time becoming good at mounted battle on this guy. He's relatively easy, though I do seem to be struggling a little bit with him, but he's relatively easy, and it's very, very good practice because mounted battle is an important part of the game. Okay, that's him done. And now we can go back and oh, it's got this dismounters. This is a lovely weapon, actually. I think I've actually never tried it, but I like the look of it. It needs more strength and dexterity than I currently have, so I'm going to deal with it later. For the moment, I'm going to show you something else and then go back to that site of grace. This bird's eye telescope allows you to look at the scene around you from a height. So, that's where we began, that building in the center of the screen there. You can see the Church of Ella somewhere around here, I want to say. Yeah, there it is. Church of Ella, where we upgraded, or we met the merchant. And on this bridge, that Knight Cavalryman, as he is called, is too difficult for us at this stage. Which is why, and he only appears at night. Which is why I'm going to go pick up this site of grace first of all. So let's pick up this site of grace. And yeah, I think I might level up since I've got notes for it. To get strength up again, we want to get strength to 16 so we can switch to the Lordsworn's Greatsword. And we're going to wait until morning so that we don't have to deal with that Knight Cavalryman. We can come back later for him. Okay. Back the way we came, past the bird's eye telescope.
You there. Could you help us out, Cully?
I don't know how you would know this if you don't look it up online, but this tree over here is actually this weird half man, half rat. We're going to talk to him. He's going to tell us about a cave and a cave that we're going to explore later. But first we're going to get a mushroom from him. and then send him off to the cave.
Right.
And let's move on. The cave is somewhere around here, along the coast, which we're going to explore a bit later. But first and foremost, we're coming here for a very specific purpose. I'll tell you what it is in a sec. Is there anything I've left unsaid? I feel like I've begun a few threads of conversation, such as talking about skills. I'm going to try and draw these guys out because I don't want all of them to come at me at the same time. Okay, so this chap's coming at me now. Good. Elden Ring is a really tough game. Like when there are 2 enemies up against you, or 3 enemies, it's significantly more than twice as difficult, if that makes sense. Fighting multiple enemies in Elden Ring, in short, is an absolute fucking nightmare. Okay, here we go. Right, now we have got... don't have any ranged weapons to use. I've got 1 smithing stone. I want to upgrade my weapon, you see. Let's pick this up. These scarab beetles always run towards danger, so there's always an... that's exactly what happens. But they contain really useful treasures. God, this guy's absolutely killing me. Okay. Okay, mounted battle from the left. Okay. Good God. Just got stuck against that wall. Not doing amazingly on mounted battle, but maybe... No. Believe me, this is, I think, the best way. Actually, what I'm going to do is... I'm having a really tough time with this guy. So what I'm going to do... Okay, he's walking away, which is good. I'll tell you what. What I might do is... Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the Lord Sworn's Greatsword, which I can use if I use both hands. Here's a little tip. If you two-hand a weapon and then get on your sword, you get a little bit of extra damage. You deal a little bit of extra damage. It's a bit of an odd thing, but it's an odd mechanic, but it's a really useful one. So two-hand the weapon before you get on your horse, and you get a little bit of extra damage. Okay, there we go. That's that guy done. Struggled a little bit with it. Right. Okay, we're just gonna go across this bridge. And this is the whole reason we came here. Apart from the scarab, which gave us an Ash of War, we wanted another smithing stone. Now we have 2 smithing stones, which would allow us to upgrade our weapon. We're not going to do it just yet. We're going to just complete a small couple of things before we do that. Let's finish this guy off first. Just so you know, when you're two-handing a weapon, you can still guard on many weapons. Which is what I did just then. We're just going to go a bit further south now and pick up another site of grace so we can go to South Limgrave quite easily. Finish off these chaps and get a little bit of extra runes. Yeah, a bit of a joke really, but runes are not to be sniffed at this early stage. This amazing set piece of these giants carrying dragging this carriage along. I absolutely love it. If you give each of these giants a whack, they stop. And then if you're quite quick, because there's a whole cavalcade behind you, you can pick up the weapon that's in here. It's usually a pretty decent weapon. And now I'm going to run away because they're after me. I'm not going to deal with them all. Look, there's a shit ton of them, so... You know, not really worth our time. Instead, we're going to come this way, going to come further south. they're still after me. Keep going. And just a golden rune. So useful that you can do that while you're on the horse. I'm thinking of Witcher 3, where you have to get down from the horse every time you pick up an item. That's so annoying. So here we are. We've just come all the way south here, just to pick up the Site of Grace and just to make our lives a bit easy when we need to come back this way. I'm going to pick up this mushroom, because mushrooms and smoldering butterflies are the items we need to craft this pot. And this fire pot is going to make our lives substantially easier. You need cracked pots in order to craft them. The more cracked pots you have, the more of these guys you can craft. Yeah, and that's that. I'll tell you more about craft pots and whatnot in the next episode.